It was 8:59 a.m. on my birthday. I walked into Clariton Dynamics with a box of donuts for the team and a smile on my face. I had just closed our biggest deal last week, $2.8 million in new contracts. My numbers were the highest in the department. I expected a bonus, maybe even a promotion. If you like our revenge stories, please subscribe for more. We drop powerful news stories every week, filled with truth, emotion, and justice. Don't miss the next one. And remember, some stories hurt, but they heal too. Subscribe now and join the journey. Instead, Marissa from HR called me in with a fake smile. Greg Dalton, our smug CEO, was already sitting there with my file. "Naomi," he said flatly, "we're letting you go. Poor performance." I blinked. "Excuse me." Greg pushed a manila folder toward me. "It's not personal. It's policy." I felt like I'd been slapped. On my birthday? They thought I'd cry. Instead, I smiled. I wasn't fired for poor performance. That was a lie, and I knew it. Greg Dalton's daughter, Shelby, had joined the company 2 months ago. No experience, no drive. Yet she was suddenly promoted to senior sales lead, the role I was quietly promised. And guess whose client list they handed her? Mine. Marissa wouldn't look me in the eye as I signed the paperwork. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. But I did watch Greg's eyes. He was smug, arrogant. He thought he'd gotten away with it. The hallway was quiet when I left. No one said goodbye. Not even the people who used to eat lunch with me every day. Silence cuts deeper than words. That night I sat with Yvonne, my best friend, at our usual sushi place. I told her everything. She didn't say, "I'm sorry." She said, "So what's the plan?" That's when the idea came to life. If Greg Dalton wanted Shelby to have my clients, then he'd regret it. Especially when his biggest client, Brian Chun, learned the truth. Greg fired me for poor performance. But I was about to perform a silent takedown that would bankrupt him. Greg and Shelby forgot one thing. Brian Chun wasn't loyal to Clariton. He was loyal to me. I'd earned his trust over 5 years of late-night calls, tight deadlines, and honest results. So I called him. "Naomi," he answered. "What the hell happened?" I told him everything. He went quiet, then said, "Shelby tried to call." I ignored it. If you like our revenge stories, please subscribe for more. We drop powerful news stories every week, filled with truth, emotion, and justice. Don't miss the next one. And remember, some stories hurt, but they heal too. Subscribe now and join the journey. That same night, Brian invited me to lunch, under a private NDA. "If you're planning something," he said, "I want in. Clariton's been slipping anyway." I smiled. Greg thought he took everything from me, but he couldn't steal my relationships. And Brian? He was just the first. I had 6 more clients waiting to hear the truth. This wasn't revenge. Not yet. But it was the start of something better. 3 days later, I mailed Greg a birthday card. Inside, no return address. Just 3 words handwritten. Check the numbers. That same morning, Brian pulled out of Clariton's contracts. Millions gone overnight. Shelby panicked. She called him repeatedly. Texted. Emailed. He never replied. Meanwhile, I was busy. Yvonne and I were setting up my own firm, Novabridge Strategies. I wasn't stealing Clariton's clients. I was giving them an exit. We built the website overnight. Julius, a legal advisor I knew from a seminar, helped me structure it tight, clean, ethical, ironclad. I wasn't breaking any laws, just snapping every string they thought held me down. When Greg saw the first press release from Novabridge, he choked on his breakfast. I know because Marissa texted me. He's freaking out. I smiled. He should. Client by client, the dominoes fell. Brian's exit opened the floodgates. By the end of the week, 3 more companies emailed me personally, not to ask if I was okay, but to ask where I went. Clariton's board noticed. The CFO, Miller Dean, requested an emergency audit. Too late. Greg blamed Shelby. Shelby blamed HR. HR blamed external market conditions. Meanwhile, I kept working quiet, clean, focused. Yvonne handled branding. Julius finalized our contracts. Tara Gomez, a tech genius I once mentored, joined as CTO. We were still small, but deadly smart. I didn't announce Nova Bridge on LinkedIn. I let whispers do the work. Greg tried to call Brian. Brian forwarded the voicemail to me. It ended with Greg begging, "Just tell me what she wants." Too late. This wasn't about what I wanted. It was about what I deserved. Shelby lost her cool on a Monday. She stormed into the office screaming, "How is she doing this? She's gone." Greg tried to calm her, but a junior analyst filmed the entire outburst and posted it anonymously with the caption, "CEO's daughter melts down over ex-employee." It went viral. Clariton Dynamics stock dipped 12% that day. Marissa emailed me a screenshot. Subject line, "She's unraveling." I didn't laugh. I took notes. Clariton's reputation was bleeding. Their top talent? Quietly job hunting. One even emailed me, "If you're hiring, I'm listening." Shelby had my role, my clients, my seat, but she didn't have my respect. Greg fired me thinking I'd fade away. Instead, his entire house of cards was catching fire, and I hadn't even pushed yet. An envelope arrived at my apartment. Inside, an official consulting opportunity from Clariton. A desperate olive branch. Greg wanted to hire me as an external consultant for a quarter of my original salary. I didn't reply. Instead, I mailed the envelope back. Empty. No note. No explanation. Just a message. "I'm not for sale." I called Julius. "We're ready for phase 2. We launched a new campaign. Real strategy, real people. Aimed directly at every Clariton client. Within 48 hours, we had 6 new inquiries. Greg fired me on my birthday. Now, every email he opened came with my name on it. And Shelby? She couldn't keep up. Because she never knew what the job actually took. I did. And I was just getting started. I didn't expect help from inside. But Marissa reached out. Quietly. Carefully. She asked to meet for coffee. Off the record. She looked tired. Like someone walking on eggshells for months. She said, "Naomi, Shelby is crashing. Greg's blaming everyone. He's not stable." I listened. Then I slid her a folder. "If you ever want out, this is a standing offer." Inside, a job description. Competitive salary. Remote. Respectful. She took it. She didn't say yes. But her eyes said soon. It wasn't about poaching. It was about rescuing. Good people were stuck under bad leadership. I wasn't just building a company. I was building a refuge. And people were starting to notice. Forbes ran the headline. Ex-Clariton exec launches rival firm and wins major clients in weeks. Greg panicked. Shelby cried. Investors asked questions. Brian Chan posted a quote on LinkedIn. "Sometimes loyalty is about the person, not the company." He tagged me. Our inbox flooded. Yvonne laughed. "You broke the internet." But I wasn't celebrating yet. We still had one more client to win. Greg's most prized account, Novatech Industries, worth $18.6 million annually. They hadn't moved yet, but their VP had emailed me once. "Watching your progress. Let's talk soon." I replied, "Whenever you're ready. I won't rush. But I'll be here." Power doesn't beg. It waits. Novatech's VP called me. "Let's grab lunch," she said. We met at a quiet rooftop spot downtown. She came with a folder full of documents. "I came with nothing but clarity," she said. "We've been with Clariton 10 years. But lately, no trust. No visión. We need something better." I didn't pitch. I just listened. By the end, she smiled and slid the folder across the table. "We're switching. Let's make it official." I walked home in the rain, tears hidden on my cheeks. Greg fired me thinking I was a threat. He had no idea I'd become the storm. Novatech's account was ours now. Clariton would never recover. And my birthday? It became the day I started over, stronger. Brian Chan finally called me back. His voice was calm, but curious. "You left Global Mark?" "Why?" I didn't lie. I told him everything. How Greg fired me on my birthday. How Shelby got handed my client list. How my ideas were stolen and buried. He listened. Then he said, "You were the only reason I stayed with Global Mark." The next morning, we met for breakfast. Brian slid a folder across the table. Inside were blueprints for a new marketing division he wanted to build. Bold. Tech-focused. Disruptive. I need a director, he said. And I don't want global mark involved. I accepted without blinking. In that moment, I wasn't just getting back on my feet. I was going to take the ground from under Greg's. I needed a team. Not just any team. My team. First was Ray, the digital ad wizard Greg had ignored for years. Then Elena, the analytics queen Shelby tried to fire. And finally Malik, the coder who created the predictive algorithm that Greg had shelved. We met in a dusty co-working space downtown. It didn't look like much, but it pulsed with ideas, hunger, and revenge. I called it Project Second Sun because it would rise from the ashes Greg left behind. We worked nights, weekends, powered by quiet fury and endless coffee. And when Brian funneled in the funding, it was real. Our pitch deck was fire. Our platform beat everything Global Mark offered, on price, design, and ROI. All we needed now was the launch. 3 months later we launched. And in our first week we stole 2 major accounts right out from under Global Mark. Greg was blindsided. Rumors swirled. Shelby's department missed every KPI. Clients started asking questions. Brian's new venture, our venture, was making noise. Greg sent out a press release calling us a minor competitor. We laughed. Because the real bomb hadn't dropped yet. Our next move was personal. I reached out to a journalist named Celia Tran. She'd been chasing a story on nepotism in corporate America. I gave her receipts, emails, reports, meeting notes where I pitched ideas Shelby later claimed, and photos, Greg celebrating Shelby's promotion with champagne the day I was fired. The headline hit 2 days later. Fired for family, the cost of nepotism at Global Mark. Shelby agreed to an interview to control the narrative. Big mistake. The journalist asked her, "What qualified you to lead the biggest sales division at Global Mark?" Shelby stammered, "Well, I've watched my dad for years, so I understand the business." Social media lit up with mockery. Hashtags trended. Employees cringed. Greg canceled all media appearances. But the real kicker came when Brian's new company was listed on Fast Tech as 10 startups to watch. Guess what photo they used? Me. Smiling. Confident. Standing with my new team in front of a blank wall that said everything. We built this from scratch. And Greg saw it. He called Brian. And Brian let it go to voicemail. Global Mark's board held an emergency meeting. Greg tried to act like everything was fine. But the numbers said otherwise. They were bleeding clients. Talent was leaving. Stock had dipped. The chairman asked bluntly, "Did you fire the woman behind our most profitable quarter last year?" Greg's silence was enough. Shelby tried to speak up. She blamed toxic culture, but her voice cracked. Meanwhile, we landed a new partnership with Altinet Solutions. Another client Global Mark had been chasing for years. Inside sources told me the board was split. Some wanted Greg gone. Others wanted Shelby moved to PR, quietly. I didn't need them fired. I just needed them irrelevant. That's when we got the invitation that changed everything. TechFront Expo, main stage keynote slot. Thousands of eyes. Journalists, CEOs, investors. I stepped on stage, breathing deep. Behind me, our brand lit up. NovaFlare. Our platform demo left jaws on the floor. Real-time dashboards. Automated insights. Predictive modeling. We offered every attendee a 30-day trial. Within 48 hours, over 600 companies signed up. Shelby posted a vague message about staying strong through industry noise. No one cared. The next week, Greg was quietly removed as CEO. Shelby took a leave of absence. Marissa, my old HR director, sent me a message. I was wrong. You didn't deserve what happened. I didn't reply. Some things don't deserve responses. But I pinned her message to my wall. A reminder. They all saw it now. Global Mark's fall wasn't sudden. It was slow, painful, public. Every week, more clients left. Investors sold off shares. Employee trust plummeted. Their new CEO tried rebranding. Too late. Meanwhile, we grew fast. Too fast, maybe. I had to hire more people, move into real offices, manage logistics. But I loved it. Every time I saw someone from Global Mark apply to NovaFlair, I smiled. Some I hired. Some I didn't. Shelby tried to reach out. Sent a LinkedIn message saying she admires what I've built. I didn't block her. I left it on read. Greg? No one's heard from him in months. Rumor is he's in Spain. Hiding. Ashamed. Good. Because I wasn't done. I couldn't have done it without Yvonne. From the sushi night to every coffee-fueled brainstorm, she was my anchor. So I made her NovaFlair's head of people operations. She cried when I gave her the offer letter. This means more than a job, she whispered. It's respect. Finally. She built a culture unlike anything we'd seen. Open. Inclusive. Transparent. People wanted to work here. That was our power. We weren't just a revenge project anymore. We were an industry blueprint. I had a meeting at the same building Global Mark once ruled. Different floor. Different company. But I passed their old office. The logo was gone. Windows dark. Ghost town. Funny. Just a year ago I cried walking out of there. Now I sipped my matcha latte and smiled. What they thought destroyed me had actually built me. At a tech mixer a girl came up to me. Nervous. Miss Taylor? You probably don't remember me. I was your intern. Her name was Joy. She said. You treated me with respect when no one else did. Joy now worked at a VC firm and they wanted to invest. Because of how I made her feel when I had nothing. It reminded me, revenge built the house. But kindness made it a home. Marissa emailed again. She asked if I could speak at a Women in Tech panel. Part of me wanted to say no. But I said yes. Because if I wanted to build something that lasted, I had to show up. I told my story. Every ugly truth. The audience cried. Not because I was hurt, but because I healed. Shelby showed up at a conference I was keynoting. She cornered me after. I was jealous of you, she said. I didn't know how to earn what came naturally to you. I didn't say anything. She offered a handshake. I shook it, then walked away. Closure isn't loud. It's silent acceptance. 6 months later, tech blogs had a new phrase, pulling a NovaFlair. Meaning, when someone turns corporate betrayal into startup domination. I never imagined it'd become that. But we inspired others. Quiet workers. Overlooked minds. Dismissed talents. Now they had a path. And it started with revenge but ended with purpose. Yvonne threw a surprise party. Everyone showed up, clients, team, even my mom. There was cake, music, and laughter. Someone gave a toast. To the woman who turned being fired on her birthday into the best thing that ever happened to all of us. Cried that time. Not because I was broken, but because I was finally whole. They called me replaceable. They tried to silence me, bury me, forget me. But I built something louder than their lies. NovaFlair wasn't just a company. It was a statement. A flame they couldn't extinguish. And every woman they tried to silence now had a blueprint. So if you're reading this, and you're where I once was, just know, you're not weak. You're the reason they're scared. Light your fire. And rise. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more powerful narratives, and share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what part hit you the hardest. Thanks for watching.